Maybe I can
Invite
get
your
my
niece.
my badass niece. That
She's bad at pew pew
she
pew
ba-
pew
she's
pew.
ba-
Hey, I'll get my pew
Stupid.
pew 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 niece.
Okay, whatever. We're doing it again.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Hiya. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
It's great. I'm great. We have a great guest today.
Yeah, that doesn't look like Jen.
Jen's not here. We grabbed somebody else. It's Mandy. So she is my
Hi, Mandy. Hi, Mandy.
she's my niece. She's my niece, right? So she's married to my nephew. So, but she's a badass girl, and we thought it would be awesome to have her on and chat a little bit. Just we talk a lot about having confidence as we're growing and being your true self, and I feel like she's a great example of that. And stuff that she's decided to do in her life is really interesting. And for me at that age, there's no way in hell I would have done any of it because I didn't have that confidence. So I think it's super cool to have her here and just kind of listen to her story and pick her brain a little bit. And so Mandy, we're happy to have
And
you.
hopefully it rubs off on us.
Yeah, I know.
Glad to be here.
Oh,
Very
all right.
good.
Yeah. So I thought we could just start. Tell us about the day you were born. No, I'm just kidding.
God.
But just really start kind of just go through a little by little. We thought we could start maybe after high school, what your dreams were, what kinds of things you got into, what you do as career, what were your goals?
Well, what age were you when you graduated? Like how old are you? When did you graduate?
High school?
Yeah.
High school, I think I was 17. Graduated at 17.
And how old are you?
I'm 31.
Oh, wow. Yeah, perfect. Very good, very good. Did you go to university, college?
I went to a community college at first, and then I actually ended up going to dental school for a while. So
Really?
started there.
Very cool. Very cool.
And
How
then-
long were you in dental school?
It was just a year.
Yeah.
I did dental assisting for a little while. That's kind of what I first started with. I did a little bit of dental hygiene, and then I was actually going to be a dentist, but I did a complete career change. So,
Yep.
What did you decide to do after that?
that's when I decided to be a police officer. It definitely wasn't something that ever crossed my mind until I actually dated a police officer, and I guess hearing all his stories, I was like, man, that sounds like fun. And I know that's a weird answer because most people are like, oh, I don't want to do that. But it sounded fun to me, and that's what I still do now, and I love it. So.
Yeah. So I want you to talk a little bit about the academy and going through all the things you did to get into it, right? It was like an academy and training. And I used to hear stories from Lori all the time, and I would just be like, oh my gosh. So just talk a little bit about the training and all that to get in.
It was rough. So, and to define rough, we have, at our department, not a lot of departments have it, but at our department, we have what's called a 6-week in-house academy. So it's pretty much, it's like a boot camp. We've had actually people who were in the military and who have been through boot camp say that they would never go through our in-house for a second time, and it was actually harder than a military boot camp.
Wow.
So it kind of starts out as we do the in-house to pretty much weed out anyone that's weak. Like, it sounds bad, but I mean, you kind of got to be strong to do this job. So we want the best of the best and people who can make it through the crazy. So
Were there mostly men, or were there women? Mostly
there was
men.
one other woman in my class. She was actually from Australia.
Oh, wow. And how many are in the group? How many are in the whole thing?
In ours, there was about 12.
Okay.
It's usually anywhere from 10 to 26. I think that was the biggest class. So we were
Awesome.
kind of in the middle.
So tell us about rough.
Oh, yes. Yes. So one of the things we have to go through is boxing, and it's not boxing like you think it would be.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty much to take you to your limit. So you know
Ugh.
when you can and can't fight anymore. So you kind of start out, and this is over periods of weeks, but you kind of start out with them being easy on you. You know, you're just getting in there, boxing, doing little stuff until the end. So obviously, normal boxing, you have rounds where this
Mm-hmm.
end one was the very last one, and it's pretty much fight until you can't anymore. So
Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, you'll be kind of put in the ring with one person, and then they'll take you to a complete exhaustion, and they're like, all right, next one's coming in, and
Oh
you
my
got to fight
gosh.
another person, and then next one's coming in, and you got to fight another person, and they honestly fight you pretty much up until the point you get knocked out.
Oh
Oh
So
my
my
gosh.
gosh. Wow.
yeah,
Were you fighting guys?
yes, yeah.
Wow. And Mandy, hey, tell us how tall you are.
I'm 5'1", so
She's
not big
itty
at all.
bitty. She's tiny. So this is what I think is so amazing is that you have the confidence to go in and do this. And here you are, this, I mean, little girl, obviously strong, but just a little person. And then you're up against all these men. And even just to be around a bunch of men has to be, were you ever like intimidated or anything like that?
Um, Not too much. I think as far as intimidation, no, is more of definitely wanting to make the place for myself, like make the
Yeah.
name for myself, because you don't want to be seen as weaker, you don't want to be seen as smaller, and
Yeah.
so you really focus on making the name for yourself.
Yeah,
So
for
Mhm.
sure. For sure. And does
yeah,
everybody make it through that academy? I mean,
no.
yeah. So,
We had so we had three females actually. There was two of us, like I said, that made it through the whole thing, but there was one female that actually quit after the second
mm,
day. So
did she?
it's
Okay. Yeah.
tough.
Because yeah, it sounds tough. And I remember hearing something, didn't y'all do something, I don't know, face first with your arms behind you in the sand or to the ocean? Didn't you do something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty much called sugar cookies. So the sand is the sugar, obviously. That was more of a punishment. So
Oh, it was. Okay.
when we messed up, you pretty much
Oh my
had to
gosh.
go face first in the sand. And they said if you didn't look like a sugar cookie, where you had sand all up in your face, nose, everywhere,
Oh my
then you would
God.
have to go run, plop down in the water, the ocean. Mind you, this is winter time,
Oh
so that
God.
water just sucks the air out of you as soon as you go into it.
Uh,
And then you have to go back and make a sugar cookie
oh,
again.
for
So,
Oh,
God's sake. Lord have mercy. What are you thinking?
that's
Sounds
awful.
terrible. Sounds terrible. All right. So, and I know,
What
yeah, go ahead.
what sorry, what were some of the I mean, what made you keep up with it? Like what were some of the best parts of it when you were in training? I'm talking about the 6 week. Like what were some of the things going through your head?
you definitely think about quitting every day, but then you don't want to be that person to quit. And especially, like I said, like there's only two females in our class. I didn't want to be the typical, oh, well, look, she's a female, so she quit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's weaker than us type of thing. So it made me want to go through it more, and
Have
not
you
be the
always
person.
been like that? Like have you
Yes.
always been
Yes.
sort of like the woman that's gonna be the badass in the room?
Yeah, just because, like, I don't know, and sounds terrible to say, but I feel like most females do kind of fall in a certain category. And not that I can put a name to the category, but, we're all very alike. And I kind of wanted to be that one that stands out and can go a little further. So I've always just been that person that
Mm-hmm.
wants to go for it no matter what I do. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's very
awesome.
cool. That's
So,
very
since
cool.
you've been a police officer, I know your career has evolved into lots of different, you've had lots of opportunities. So tell us a little bit about your opportunities since you've been there.
Okay. So I've kind of been doing it about 5.5 years now. I do a lot.
Boy,
You
you
I'm
do
got
do
in
thinking
a
there
like,
when you
lot.
were young.
yes, I think I got in the academy maybe like 2018, and I think it was
Wow.
2024. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
uh,
you were nice and young. Yeah.
yes, young and naive. It's made me grow a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
bet.
for sure.
But again, I've kind of want to be the person that is able to do everything, and I've probably signed myself up for a lot more than I need to be signed up for. But um, I do the dive team. I'm a mounted patrol officer. I recently got on SRG this year, which is stands for Special Response Group. It's pretty much like a riot team. Like if you see the people
Wow.
with the big sticks and the shields in front of them,
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and then I just got promoted to detective this year.
Yes, you
So,
did.
Wow.
Congratulations. So
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you.
congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, how do you have time to do all of those different things? Is it just because you get pulled sometimes for different tasks, so you're able to be on all those teams and they just kind of get a team together to do it for certain events? Is that how that
Yeah.
works? Yeah.
So I do the detective work full time. That's kind of what I do. And then as far as like mounted, the horse stuff we usually use for events like Mardi Gras, Lone Star Rally. The summer gets really, really busy, so we'll kind of do things on the beaches and
Yeah. That's
deal
fun.
with all the craziness there. And so a
Yeah.
lot of these are events like dive team. We have each team has a training every month, but the PD makes it to where the trainings just don't line up. They're all on different days. So I'm
Yeah.
able to go to all the trainings.
Yeah.
And
What's the dive
then
team for? Why would,
that is pretty much for dead bodies.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
oh,
yeah. So
Rest.
if
Yeah.
if
have
Like
you
you ever done
drownings.
drown,
anything like that?
yes. Yes.
Really?
So I will say it's not diving like you would in Mexico. The water's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Fun.
It's pitch black. So it's
Oh.
very dark. How we train is you put your mask on and then we put tape all over it. So
Oh,
Oh,
you can't
God.
wow.
really see.
So you're feeling more
So
than anything.
yes.
Wow.
So if
Oh.
people drowned, we gotta find them, or even people that dump guns or anything like that. We're just kind of feeling around, and
Oh,
there's certain techniques to it,
I
obviously, so you
see.
don't miss anything. But that's mainly what it's
That's
for. And
cool.
then we,
That's so
Mhm.
interesting.
And
Wow.
Yeah,
you've done that a few times?
yes. I have
You,
not actually found a body yet.
yeah.
We've done the guns and stuff, but I'm that day I'm kind of not looking forward to because
Yeah.
again you have no visibility. So if you're feeling around and you feel a little finger or something,
Oh,
yeah.
God. Yeah, that's going to be a
So do
little
you like
creepy.
that? I mean, do you actually
um,
like diving or?
I do. I know it sounds like I don't, but at first I would say I was very terrified because again you can't see, and for the training they actually make you pull underwater, pull out your air, pull off your mask, and then you
Oh.
actually again it's dark, so you're having to feel around to grab it back, put
Oh,
your um,
gosh.
air back in, and then put the mask on. And obviously there's water in it, so you have to blow into your mask to clear all the water out. So it
Oh,
takes a
my
minute. So you got to hold your breath.
gosh.
So
Yeah.
what,
Wow.
again, I'm back to what makes you keep going?
Oh,
Like you're terrified. Why
yes.
don't you
Okay.
just go, you know what, the diving's not for me? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that's
Um,
just,
I
again, pushing yourself, or is there more to it?
I do like it. It is pushing myself, but I do like it just because the aspect of I guess doing something we're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's fascinating in a way of like you usually hold your breath. You go underwater 2 seconds and you're done, or however long you can hold your breath. But when you're under there and you actually have air and you can dive, and again, sometimes you can see a little bit, but it's dark. It's just I think it's more of the fascination to me. Like you're
Yeah.
underwater and you can actually see
Dive.
the sea life if you can. It's
Yeah.
close,
Yeah.
Yeah.
swimming around you, and I don't know. It's fascinating and it's just cool to get to be under there for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Do
So
you think you're sort of like are you someone who sort of looks for the next challenge and the next challenge, like without that challenge? it gets
Yeah.
boring.
That is definitely me.
Yeah, I
Because
was gonna say because that.
I get to a point where I'm like, okay, man, like I am happy with my life, and then I'm like, I feel like I can do something
Yeah,
else now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I like to be able to do everything, and then when people
Yeah.
ask you, like, do you know about this? Yes. Do you know how to do this? Yes. Like,
yeah,
what do you want to know?
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
also, I can't remember where I heard this quote, but I heard a quote that was, time's gonna pass whether you're being productive or not, so you might as well do something with it.
yeah.
So
Yep.
That's so
I
true.
Yep.
definitely
That's
live
awesome.
by that.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, that's so
Wow.
true. What other projects do you have going on? Because I've heard a few things, so I'm just curious.
Yes, so I pretty much have a little farm. I raise chickens. I sell eggs. I started gardening. I kind of got on like this homestead thing, so I've kind of
Yeah.
been doing that.
So, would you consider yourself a trad wife?
What's a trad wife? I don't know the word.
That's going to be one of our topics. So. Oh, she is
Trad
so
wife
not a
is
trad wife.
Yeah, not a trad wife. You are not. Trad
Okay.
wife is somebody who goes back to the traditional women at home raising the children, and the husband goes out.
And the husband makes all the decisions. It's
Yeah.
No, definitely not that.
it's
I
it's a
like.
new trend.
I do like more of the traditional aspect of the homesteading, like how it was back in the day. I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
go in that a lot, but I won't.
Yeah.
But yes, I do the chickens, the eggs. I got into horses. I have pigs. The gardening.
Yeah.
I started doing like canning and preserving type
Yeah.
stuff.
That's cool.
All kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. I do
Didn't you have
dog
goats or
sitting.
something?
Yes, we
You
had
had
2 goats
goats.
as well.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Jana, you're going to have to
Yeah.
get out there and look at her.
I know. I
her,
can't wait. I haven't been there.
facilities.
I knew the chickens. That was it. But I haven't seen the pigs or
Yeah,
anybody.
you got to
So
get out
I'd
there and
like to
show
go
us
out
what
there. Yeah.
homesteading is.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're going to
yes.
have her back on and check everything out. Are you ever fearful? Like, I know you can't necessarily, it's probably, you just have to just do what you're trained to do, but there's got to be moments where you feel a little fear, right? I mean,
Yeah, in a way, I don't want to say now. Obviously, it's weird because your fear kicks in after something
right.
Yeah.
happens.
Because you think about it then.
You're so caught up in the moment, and you're really relying on your skills and your training, and your brain automatically clicks on to your
Yeah.
training when something like that is happening. So you really don't have time to be fearful. Like, sometimes you'll get like the hair on back of your neck stands up. People say that you get the
Yeah.
weird feeling, or
Yeah.
you get uncomfortable with something. You're like, oh, I feel like something's not right. But the fear doesn't kick in until after you're done, and you're like, wow, like that just happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
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 your
Kind of
training
like
just
reality
really
sets in.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Do you
Most
think
definitely.
there's any advantage ever? I'm just thinking you said you're a detective. I'm wondering if there's any advantage you see being a female amongst a big group of males, because that kind of diversity I would think adds a lot to a group.
Yes. I have noticed people are willing to talk to females more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess, I don't know, just how we are naturally.
Yeah.
There can be plenty of times where I've been on a scene and a person can be completely irate and mad, and I show up and I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, just bring the calm to the storm,
Yeah.
and they'll literally be like, fuck that guy.
Right.
I don't want to
Yeah.
talk to him. Can I
Right.
talk to her? And
I
I'm like,
bet.
yeah, sure, come over. Like,
That's
so
awesome.
people are a little more willing to talk to
trusting.
you.
Yeah.
More trusting.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
too, even though I have been in a lot of fights, I've noticed too, like, as a guy, when they get in a fight with a girl, there's only two ways it goes. You either got beat by a girl, or you beat
You
up
beat
a
a
girl.
girl.
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
So
Right.
it looks
Yeah.
bad either way.
Either way.
Right.
Yeah,
True.
that's a no win. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's an
So,
advantage, I would think, for
yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Most
That's
definitely.
funny.
That is funny. What about, did you do something with Instagram where you had, did you do like modeling?
Modeling. Didn't you do some modeling?
Yeah, I kind of did that off and on. The biggest thing I do, I worked with a company called FAR, and it's pretty much like an autism awareness type company. They're a charity that makes schools for autistic kids that actually teaches them how to live on their own. And they do
Oh,
calendars, they do like first
okay.
responder calendars. So I kind of posed in
Awesome.
that, and it brings funds to them every
That's
year.
Oh,
great.
that's cool.
We're fascinated.
It is
Yeah,
fast. Well, I do think it's fascinating because it's like, when you're really pretty, right, and have a great body and you can model and do all of these things, I think there's a real stereotype that goes along with that,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
yeah,
Um, and I think that's what makes it even more interesting what you do is because I don't know, that's not you. Whatever people think about like those pictures or bikini pictures or whatever, it's just you're so not that. Do you know? You have so
yeah.
much more substance and you're a badass. Like Tish and I say it all the time. I mean, it's yeah. I'm proud of you. I think it's really awesome. I wish I had that confidence when I was young to
Thank
do
you.
all those things that you want to do. And we do talk about that a lot on our show is like what we wish we would have done when we were younger, like we wish that we have a lot more confidence now being older, but gosh, when you have it when you're young, I just feel like you really live a more authentic, awesome life, and feel like you never really missed out on anything. So it's good. You're,
Yes,
you're a
yes.
huge role
How do
model,
you,
I think, for girls. So
oh, for sure. How do your
Thank
friends
you.
respond to all of that?
Um,
Female friends.
I don't know. They're kind of obviously when you do become a police officer or more of a
Mm-hmm.
confident person, some people do fall off because they do,
mm-hmm.
people have their own issues and they get a little intimidated by someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, my friends love it. They always want to hear stories, and I always get this
Yeah.
Yes.
question like, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen? And it's so hard. It is so hard to even pick because I mean that's like my everyday life,
I
and I
know.
just
Yeah.
kind of compartmentalize it as normal. So when
Yes.
they ask me the crazy, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I mean, it's all the same.
I'm
So
sure you get it all the time.
no, I don't. I love my job actually, and I like talking about it. So when people do
Yeah.
ask, I don't mind.
Yeah.
So
Good.
how
Good.
do you handle that as far as mental health? Because I mean, I know that I have
It's a good
often through the
question.
years thought about police. There's just so many aspects, right? And I don't want to go down that road. But how do you think you're going to support your own mental health for the long run?
You definitely have to be aware of it. The first couple of years, you don't notice it. And it being the biggest thing that I have noticed is like being desensitized to
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you, I guess you kind of do block out a lot so that it doesn't affect you.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to being so desensitized, you'll notice the things that people normally get upset about or stressed about. It's in one ear and out the other, which is a bad thing too because you do start lacking the empathy for
Mm-hmm.
people or
Mm-hmm.
even your spouse, they'll be
Yeah.
going through something and it doesn't affect you like it would that person, and you have to be very mindful.
Yeah.
Um so I think the important thing is mental health wise is like pretty much my farm for me. It keep yourself busy from whatever is stressing you out or causing those issues. Just I remind myself that I have other things than just police life because I will
Yeah.
say
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a big part inside and outside of the
Yeah.
office, and you got to remember to pretty much take that uniform off once you're in your door. And
Yeah.
I I guess helping it is I just do a lot of research, and then we also have a chaplain, Heather. She helps a lot. She pretty much does like PowerPoints all the time in front of us. Just a quick kind of little meeting that talks about mindfulness and
That's
mental
good.
health. And
That's great.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
there to talk if we need her. And she has books that she always brings for us if we need
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Yeah.
she's been a big help.
That's
It's
awesome.
mainly just being aware. So
Yeah.
I have one
Yeah.
more question about that. Sorry, Jana.
I know I
So-
can't get one in.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm just curious about that. Now you're talking about mental health. So,
Yeah.
as a woman, listening to a woman talking about that, it's very easy for a woman to be open to help, especially mental help, or saying, you know, Heather, I can go to Heather and I can talk. My generation and older tend to not think that that's an option. So therapy is such a taboo word for anybody that I've ever been around, my age, my brothers who are older. You know, that's just not normalized in our as we grew up. And I see it now much more normalized. I see the students that that come through the university. They're not afraid at all to talk about therapy or counseling or anything like that. Do you see a difference? I'm just curious as to the generations who utilize somebody like a Heather.
big
Yeah.
time. And Heather and other people talk about it as well. I completely agree. The older generation sees that as, especially a police officer, as being weak.
Weak.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
not something that's talked about, and you will see with older police officers that do have issues from work or whatever else, drinking kind of
Yeah.
heavily, and that's their fix. And
Yeah.
I think as the younger generation in the police department, you can, I guess, normalizing it is what has brought them out a little more. So they're starting to see it. It's normal to be able to
Yeah.
talk about things. And it is a big thing to be able to talk about it, whether, you know, you want to or not. But at some point, you got to get to that okay level of being able to talk about something. And
Yeah.
whether,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
And it's changing that story, isn't it? Like it's actually not weak, it's the opposite. It shows true strength. And I think
Yeah.
that really is a massive message that is so helpful once the light goes off, you know, that look, people taught you that was weak and it's literally the opposite. And to much benefit, to everybody.
Yes, and I think that older generation is starting to see that more and
Good.
feeling okay with being able to talk about whatever is bothering them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Good.
And then
yes,
just listening
definitely.
to
Go ahead,
how
Jen.
you were talking about your farm, I'm going to just talk Tish. Just kidding. I'm just going to jump
I
in.
know, I was like, go ahead.
I know. But just talking about, like, it's interesting that you say, like, you just sort of escape and turn it off and go to your farm, and you find a lot of the things that we talk about are just happiness in general. I mean, that is what you have to do. You have to go to those thoughts and those things that make you happy. Otherwise, you'll just sit and dwell in all the stress and negativity and you're living in it every time you're thinking about all the work stuff. So I think you kind of figured out your own way to find your happiness, which is your farm. So
Yes,
good.
yes.
Your
You know,
meditation.
some people go to the gym. I go outside and take care of my
Yeah.
animals. But
Yeah.
I
great.
love doing it. It is
Yeah.
work, but I love doing it.
Yeah, it's great.
You should start a little. I'm sure you've either done this or thought about it, but it would be cool to watch somebody on like Instagram or TikTok and follow them, and they're like, okay, this is kind of some of the stuff I encountered today on the streets, but you know, this is how I'm getting release. You know,
Yeah.
and like I'm gonna feed Chi Chi or Chippy or you know.
Or churn butter. Today's churn butter day. You know, she does. She
I'm
makes her
canning
own butter.
cookies
I do
today.
make butter.
She
I
does
actually
do butter.
make butter.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. You could have a whole Instagram channel of all of the
It
things
would
that
be
you do
so
on the
cool.
farm. Yeah.
You know,
You
I've
should
thought
do
about
that.
it.
Why wouldn't you? You would be great.
I would follow that every day.
Well, good. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Thanks. It was really, really fun to have you. Thanks for chatting with us about everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me. I had a good time.
Yeah. It's definitely inspirational. So I don't think we have, a negative world to look forward to. I think our world is looking very positive because of you and people like you who are like, you know what, I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to think of mental health. So yeah, thank you. You
Awesome.
inspire
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah. Give us hope for the future.
That's right.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Mandy.
All
And thanks
righty.
to all our listeners for listening, and make sure to hit the thumbs up button so we can get some movement on some of our videos. And yeah, we'll be back next week with Jen.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.